At 89 years old, Dianne Feinstein is the oldest member of Congress. Age affects us all, and as we get older, it is simply the case that we become more prone to illness. That's the unfortunate situation for the California Democrat, who in February was diagnosed with shingles. She's been out of the Senate since then and recently announced she'd need more time away due to continued complications.
Thank you, Austin.
It's a situation that's putting new light on politicians' age and, more specifically, their reluctance to resign.
Let me start off with two words: made in America.
At 80 years old, Joe Biden is 10 years Ms. Feinstein's junior. Yet everyone's situation is different, and Mr. Biden faced questions about his mental acuity before he even became president.
I'm running as a proud Democrat for the Senate.
We choose truth over facts.
It's estimated that 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk.
Ms. Feinstein has held her seat for more than 30 years, and in light of her recent health issues, some members of her own party now want her to step down before her scheduled retirement in 2024.
It's time for Senator Feinstein to resign,
tweeted Ro Khanna, going on to say,
"It is obvious she can no longer fulfill her duties. Not speaking out undermines our credibility as elected representatives of the people."
That's a fair point, though it also raises the question of how Democrats can pressure Ms. Feinstein to resign while remaining silent on Joe Biden's growing predicament.
Millions of Americans have used Paxlovid. Since
her diagnosis in February, Ms. Feinstein has missed nearly 3/4 of this year's Senate votes. And while Mr. Biden clearly gets a lot more rest breaks than other former presidents, he's also physically frail and increasingly prone to confusion and misstatements. The reality is that elected leaders have grueling jobs, both physically and mentally, and that's the case even for leaders of much smaller countries than the U.S.
I know what this job takes, and I know that I no longer have enough in the tank to do it justice. It's that simple.
Jacinda Ardern resigned as Prime Minister of New Zealand earlier this year. She was just 43 years old.
I am leaving because with such a privileged role comes responsibility. The responsibility to know when you are the right person to lead and also when you are not.
I'm serious. You turn on the TV, look at the ads. When's the last time you saw biracial couples on TV?
Mr. President, you are the oldest president ever.
Pretty good shape, huh?
10, 12, 15. Oops, stepping on a...
Watch me.
It's black. Anyway.
If you think I don't have the energy level or the mental acuity.
Ms. Feinstein has already announced she won't be running for re-election in 2024, at which time she'll be 90, a nonagenarian.
I have not made that formal decision, but it's my intention. My intention to run again.
If Mr. Biden were to run again, by the end of his second term, he'd be 86 years old.
Okay, thank you.
That's nearly 10 years more than the average American's life expectancy. And those numbers raise some profound questions for the American electorate.
Okay, just stay.
So just sit, don't move.
Leadership means being willing to step back and recognise when actually it's time for someone else to do the job.